AutoCost function is found in Customer Return In module. In this video, we shall show you how the system does auto-costing for goods returned in by customer in the real-time system. For demonstration purpose, we created a dummy stock code with a certain quantity and unit cost as opening balances. With various scenarios and sequence of events of buying and selling added, we attempt to show how the system automatically works out or auto-cost the most recent accurate per unit cost updated to the database. Click on Enquiry. Select Stock Card Activity. We have created a stock code called AAA. And from the relevant date range, click Retrieve Data. We created an opening balance of 20 units at $10 and sold out the 20 pieces in two different invoices with a zero balance as at 10th of January. Assuming now customer ABC wish to return some goods, at Sales Entry, select Return In. Click Add. Enter the customer's ID ABC. On this date, 26th of January, assuming this customer returned the goods AAA back to your company. Click Add. Enter the stock code AAA and the quantity and unit price. Click the selling history to make sure that the customer actually bought this item before from the company. Next, untick the auto costing button. The system selects the cost from the opening stock transactions and automatically assign the $10 cost to these returned goods. We shall let the cost remain as $10 and tick the auto costing button back. Click Add. Exit. Save this credit note and print later. Exit from this credit note. Click Reports. For the purpose of stock valuation, click Stock Closing Value. The returned goods will be valued at $10 as unit cost. After entering the customer's returned goods, the next sequence of events is that we are going to enter a supplier's invoice of the same stocks, but backdate the purchases before the credit note date. At Purchase Entry, Supplier Invoice, click Add. Enter the supplier's ID, for example, cash. By default, the system will display the current date, but we are going to backdate this transaction to yesterday, which is 25th of January. Enter the supplier's reference number and click Add. Enter the stock code, and for the unit cost, the system shows a cost of $10, but we choose to enter $7 to affect the average cost. Click Save. Click Print Later. OK. Exit from this supplier's invoice. Click on the Stock Card Activity Enquiry tab and retrieve the data. The system shows the sequence of the event by the order or date, even though the credit note is entered before the supplier's invoice. Next, for demonstration purpose, we are going to manually recalculate the cost of this stock code AAA. Click on Utility, select Recalculate Balance. Enter the stock code AAA and click OK. Go back to Stock Card Activity. Before Recalculate Balance, the cost is $10. Click Retrieve Data to refresh the screen. The cost now is $7. The system replaces the return goods cost from $10 to $7, which is also the latest average cost when the supplier's invoice was backdated after the return notes transactions. Return back to the Return In transactions. At Sales Entry, click Return In. Highlight on the return notes and click View. Double-click on the row and notice that the $10 is now $7 instead. In this new scenario, with the same opening balances and the fully sold out item, we are going to show the effect of unticking the auto cost and manually preset the cost. Click on Customer Credit Note. Click Add. Assuming customer ABC wish to return the goods AAA that was purchased earlier on this date, click Add. Enter the stock code AAA and the quantity and the unit price. Click the selling history to make sure that the customer actually bought this item from the company. For this credit note, remove the auto costing tick. The unit cost is default $10 based on the stock opening balances cost. But for some valid reason, this item is no more value at $10 and may be a lower cost of $6. And we shall manually preset the unit cost at $6. Click Add. Click Save. Print later. OK. Exit from the credit note. Click on the Stock Card Activity Inquiry tab and retrieve data. The return in will be cost at $6. Click on the Recalculate Balance and recalculate the cost of this item. Go back and refresh the screen. The returned good is valued at a fixed cost of $6 instead of $10 average cost. Again, we are going to insert a supplier's invoice and backdate this invoice to a day before the credit note. Enter the supplier's ID. From the current date, backdate it to yesterday, 25th. Enter the supplier's invoice number. Click Add. Enter the stock code AAA and we set the unit cost at $7. That is different from the return goods cost valued at $6. Verify again that this supplier invoice was created on 26th but backdated to 25th. Click Save. Exit from the supplier's invoice module. Click on the Stock Card Activity Inquiry tab and retrieve data. The supplier's invoice is now inserted before the credit note date, as shown here. Click on the Recalculate Balance tab to get the latest average cost for this stock code AAA. Go back to Stock Card Activity Inquiry and click Retrieve Data. With a supplier's invoice cost of $7, the return in cost remains undisturbed at $6. Simply because we had instructed the system not to disturb the unit cost as manually entered by the user. Next, click on Reports. Select Stock Analysis and the Closing Value. We shall now see the FIFO costing of this stock AAA. The credit note cost is separated from the supplier's invoice cost as a separate line. For weighted average cost, the per unit cost will be worked out to be $6.50 per unit. You have learned the effect of unticking the auto costing function in the customer return in module. In this new scenario, we are going to create another sequence of events to insert another credit note that is between 10th of January and 25th of January. At Customer Credit Note, click Add. Enter the customer's ID ABC. The system will show the current date. Click Add. Enter the stock code AAA. At the auto costing function here, the system will display the current weighted average cost of $6.50. Click Add. Exit. In actual event, the goods was returned on the 22nd of January. So the credit note will be backdated to 22nd of January. But for documentation purposes, the credit note was created on the 26th, resulting in the backdating of this credit note. Click Save. Exit from this credit note and click Stop Card Activity, Retrieve Data. The system assigns the weighted average cost of $6.50 for this recent return of goods, based on the 26th of January cost, when the cost should be $10, with reference to the opening balance cost as shown. The system will correct this costing at the end of the day by running the recalculate balance. Return back to stock card activity. Before we refresh this stock card, the cost is showing $6.50. Click Retrieve Data to refresh this stock card. It is now showing $10. In this case, when we let the system auto cost the return in goods, the system replaces the $6.50 with the $10 cost based on the weighted average cost on that day. You have learned the effect of auto costing in the customer return in module.